What's up, college football fans and Gamecock fans? I wanted to talk a little bit about overall some college football things that's going on and these coaches and a lot of fans that are upset with their coaches. Some coaches that's been kind of talked about on being in or on the hot seat or potential hot seat before the end of the season, depending on how some of these games fall. Well, we know there's been a tendency of, and we've already seen it, coaches getting fired throughout the season this year, and it's getting earlier and earlier. Teams want to get a head start on coaching searches. They want to try to get their coach locked down. Recruiting is a big part of that. Starting working on a staff is a big part of that. Where will some of these coaches end up? Will any get moved at all? Will any get fired? Before we get into that, please like and subscribe to the channel. I know typically we come on here and we talk Gamecocks. And I included the Gamecocks in what we're going to talk about, the burning seats. But I want to talk about a few other coaches that fans are not very happy with also. And I'm really going to talk just SEC and ACC. The bigger names that are worth talking about. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I watch Big Ten football, but I don't keep up with it. You know, I've heard names like Luke Fickell at Wisconsin and stuff maybe being on the hot seat. And I've heard, well, it's a money situation. They don't know if they're going to, who knows if they get rid of him or not. We know UCLA is going to be looking for a coach who fits in there. Just a movement. We know Penn State's looking for a coach. Who are they going to hire? So we know there's going to be some movement. Who moves from where? Who do they hire? What job opens up? If it's a coach that's already coaching at another football team. It's going to be interesting. It's almost like transfer portal for coaches right now. I mean, you don't know who's going where, what's going to open up. All these kids that's going to move around due to these coaching moves. But who are some guys that are realistic to be on the hot seat or maybe get ousted from their position right now as a head coach? Who are some guys that we think maybe there's just too much money? Maybe they have too much history with their program. But the fans are really upset with a lot of these guys. And a lot of times when the fans start speaking, you know, ears perk up amongst these athletic administrations and universities. So I'll start with my guy Shane Beamer. Where is Shane Beamer right now? I think Shane Beamer's on the borderline of fans. I think the vast majority of fans probably still love Shane Beamer. There's a select 45% of the fans that are off of Shane Beamer. We've made all excuses. We blame Mike Shula. We blame the offensive line coach who got fired. A lot of different people have taken blame on why South Carolina's so bad this year. But at the end of the day, it all goes back to the head coach. Beamer keeps saying, I. It's his responsibility. Yes, it is. There's also been rumored about Shane Beamer going to Virginia Tech. How much smoke is there? We've heard Brad Crawford talk about it. I've heard a lot of people that are fairly close to people around the University of South Carolina say it's not going to happen. Shane Beamer will not lose his job. He deserves to have another year after this off year. Does it get fixed? What's the plan? I don't know. I think a lot of that we've talked about before. He'll have to take that up with the athletic director and see if the athletic director likes Shane Beamer's plan and where it's going to head, or if it's going to do anything. Over the next 3 weeks, this is what Shane Beamer's got to face. An Alabama team tomorrow at home. Alabama is playing really well. Number 3 team in the country. I still hear South Carolina fans talking about, well, Alabama's bad against the run because they on average, they have been. And some teams got them on the run, but those teams really force the run, and those teams are a little bit tricky to defend. Teams like Vandy, very tricky offense to defend, and Vandy loves to run the football, and they run a weird option style offense that not a lot of football teams see. So you got Bama, then you're following that up with Ole Miss, who has a tough game this weekend at Oklahoma. And you got to go on the road. South Carolina's not play well on the road. A lot of penalties, a lot of mental mistakes when South Carolina travels. And then you have A&M on the road. That's your next 3. There is a bye week thrown in there before the A&M game. But where will Shane Beamer be with the fan base at South Carolina just after the next 3 games? I'm not even going to the end of the season because we all know a lot of these teams. There's a November game in there that all these teams play something weak, and then you have your rivalries. So I'm not going to get into that. When it comes to rivalries, anything can happen. We know that. When it comes to playing these smaller teams in November, more than likely these teams are going to win their football games. So there's no need to really deep. These next 3 games for all of these coaches is going to determine a lot when it comes to the eyes of the fan base. So I think Bama, Ole Miss, A&M, where's the fans if South Carolina doesn't win any of these football games? It's probably going to be really bad around South Carolina. I don't know what the game plan is. I don't know what Beamer's going to try to do. I don't know. I mean, is he talking to people right now about the offensive coordinator position? Is Sean Elliott going to stay at O-line? Are they going to look for an O-line coach? A lot of stuff out there right now we don't know. We know Virginia Tech signed some NDAs, which are non-disclosure agreements. So there's not a lot floating around about their coaching search, who they have in mind. Is there someone out there in mind? And as we talk about these teams, some of these teams, we'll talk about some coaches that could potentially go there. I mean, for South Carolina, you can't overlook James Franklin. If they decide to make a change, I don't think you can overlook Alex Golesh. Here's the thing. If you don't make the change this year at coach for some of these teams, if you have a guy in mind and you don't make the change this year and he's hired by one of these other programs, then that guy's not going to be around after next season if things continue to not get better. So I think that's a lot of times why you see these buyouts coming a lot earlier than you think they would because of the amount of the buyout. And you're like, oh, there's no way this team's doing that. The buyout's too high. And then all of a sudden, the team makes a move and it kind of shocks you. We know Arkansas. What's Arkansas going to do? Is it Bobby Petrino and let him hire a staff? Do they go outside and try to get... Do they try to pull Lashley from SMU? Maybe. Can they pull him? I don't know. SMU's got plenty of money, oil money. What does Arkansas do? I think a lot of that will depend. Same with Arkansas over the next few weeks. Florida, still, there's rumors everywhere. Lane Kiffin. They've offered him, I saw some goofy thing, and it could be true, about $81 million over 8 years or something, a little over $10 million. Lane makes $9 million at Ole Miss. Ole Miss can match that offer. But for Lane Kiffin, I think it just depends on what he wants to do. If he thinks he can make it successful at Florida, maybe he goes there. Everybody talks about all the recruiting in Florida, but you are battling Miami. Now you're battling a USF if Alex Golesh stays there. You're battling Florida State all the time. You're battling Alabama that comes in here. You're battling Georgia that comes in here. You're battling Ohio State that comes into the state of Florida and tries to get a lot of recruits. Now, could Lane Kiffin, he was here, FAU down in Boca Raton. Gainesville is not Boca Raton. Gainesville's a shithole. Boca Raton's very nice and a lot of rich people. But Gainesville, Florida's not, it's a shithole. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say it like that, but it is not the nicest place. It's one of the highest drug places in the state of Florida. So y'all take that how I said it, because it's the truth. If you don't, look up the stats yourself. Anyway, LSU fans, I think they're kind of in the same situation as South Carolina when it comes to Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's buyout's pretty high. LSU fans are pretty pissed off. I think they're ready to move on from this Brian Kelly experiment because LSU's used to, and Brian Kelly did his first year, right? Went to the SEC championship game, but they haven't been close to that since. And LSU is always competing for, a chance to get an SEC championship. Now with the playoff the way they are, LSU should be competing for getting into the playoffs. There should be no excuse that LSU is not making the playoffs. I'm sorry. There's just no excuse for LSU with all the talent that they have down and around Louisiana and into Texas where they recruit, that LSU is not fighting for the playoffs and in the playoffs winning football games. There's no excuse whatsoever for that not to be happening, and it's really not happening. And I think don't get me wrong, this is not a knock on Vanderbilt. But South Carolina losing to Vanderbilt really upset South Carolina fans. LSU losing to Vanderbilt is really over the top for the LSU Tiger fans. People are just not used to getting beat by Vanderbilt. And I know a lot of people say, well, Kirk Cignetti is going to get coaches fired. In the SEC, Vanderbilt's going to get coaches fired. Clark Lee and Vanderbilt are going to get SEC football coaches fired. It's a fact. People look over at Vanderbilt and the turn that they made and the way they're playing and playing with passion. I'm telling you, Vanderbilt, who's dug themselves from the bottom, are going to get coaches fired. So we look at LSU coming up. A&M playing really good under Elko in his second year. Reed's dialing it up. They're pretty exciting football team to watch. Their defense is better than they're kind of that quiet, really good team that nobody's really talking about. I think people are just waiting on A&M to do what they did last year and play really good up to a point, lose a football game, and then the wheels kind of fall off for the rest of the year. I think that's what people are looking for. I don't know if that's going to happen with A&M this year. Mike Elko's a really good football coach. Of course, they have to travel to Bama, and then they have Arkansas at home. That's their next three. Arkansas is scoring a lot of points. Arkansas could be a team that beats LSU because LSU's not scoring a lot of points. So unless LSU's defense can really shut down Taylor Green and Arkansas, that's a dangerous football game. LSU could lose their next three very easily. And the LSU man will probably come on here and tell me I'm crazy. There's no way. But I'm just, you look around these teams, A&M has played better than LSU. Bama's played better than LSU. And Arkansas's a dangerous, dangerous football team. And you're going to be coming off of the Bama game. Auburn, Hugh Freeze. This guy, I don't even know what to make of Auburn. They play well, then they play terrible. It's like they're inside of one game, there are two different football teams. It's like at moments they're really good and they have chances to win football games, and then they do really dumb shit and they don't win the football games. They have to play Arkansas this week. Very dangerous team for them. Very, very dangerous football team for Auburn. And they have to go to Arkansas. Can Auburn defense hold back Taylor Green? Can Auburn score enough to stay? Now, Arkansas's defense not very good. But I don't know. Auburn's offense, it's not really anything to write home about. So it's probably going to be a shootout there. I don't know. It's tough to say, but Arkansas is not scared, and Bobby Petrino's dialing it up. Now they have Kentucky at home. You would say Auburn should win this. It's at Jordan-Hare. Auburn could beat Kentucky. Kentucky's not very good. Kentucky right now is at the bottom of the SEC. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'd say maybe you get that. Then you got to go on the road to Vanderbilt. Tough game there. Vanderbilt's done very well at home. They got Missouri at home this week. They just beat LSU. I don't know, man. Nashville's kicking for Vanderbilt. Is Auburn good enough to go into Nashville and beat them? I mean, a lot of these teams are potentially right here over. They could lose every football game. They could win one of the next three. Either way, the fan bases aren't going to be happy with any of these football teams. None of those. South Carolina, LSU, Auburn. Kentucky, what are they going to do with Mark Stoops? Here's a situation where Kentucky's not really good. The buyout for Mark Stoops is fairly high. And they want John Summerall. Okay, if you don't buy out Mark Stoops, one of these other teams goes out there and scoops up Summerall. What are you going to do? Because then your opportunity to get him is gone, right? If you wait another year in this situation, you may not get your guy. So that's a tough situation for Kentucky. They got Tennessee, Auburn, and Florida is their next three. We talked about Florida a little bit. What will Florida be by the time that Kentucky game happens? Who knows? I mean, really won't know until we get to see Florida on the field again and what they're going to do with this offense. Is the offense going to be better? Is it not going to be any good? How's the team react to Napier getting fired? All that stuff's unknowns. Now, I do want to talk about two ACC teams that are not playing this weekend. They're on a bye week. And if they lose to the bye, both these coaches are getting ousted. I'm kidding. Clemson's not going to get ousted. Dabo's not getting ousted from Clemson. But is it getting time now? I think Dabo's starting to wear on the Clemson fans. At least the Clemson fans that come on this channel are not real happy about this year's football team. We've seen Clemson go in not a big drop, but they have steadily declined each year to this year. They're sitting at 3-4 right now. They got Duke coming up. Duke's playing well under Manny Diaz. And Mensa, the quarterback's lighting it up. Here's the thing. What about Manny Diaz? I haven't heard his name mentioned for some of these bigger jobs. Would someone look at trying to sneak Manny Diaz out away from Duke and hire him to something? You never know when this stuff starts bouncing around. Of course, Florida State, they get them at home. Florida State's just god-awful right now. But still dangerous enough to as long as, I don't know, are they dangerous enough to beat anybody? Not the way they're playing right now. What has this team done? Is Florida State giving up? It's hard to judge, and we're going to talk about Florida State while we're doing that, because Florida State, their next game's against Wake Forest. Wake Forest is kind of hung in there with some teams. They hadn't got the wins that they wanted, but they've been right there, just a little bit off from getting the victories that they wanted. Florida State, they get Wake Forest at home. I think it's going to be a battle. I think that's going to be a close football game. I don't know if Florida State can just blow away Wake Forest. And then, of course, we talked about the Clemson game. Who wins out of Florida State Clemson? That coach is going to be under more pressure than they already are. And then you got Virginia Tech coming in. Clemson has Louisville. We saw Louisville beat Miami last Friday night. Louisville's a good football game. Clemson has to go on the road to Louisville. Clemson could come out of this with one win and 2 losses, or I don't know. I would guess right now Clemson's probably favored at home against Florida State, but Duke's no guarantee. In Louisville, you got to go on the road to Louisville. I don't know if Clemson can beat Louisville. And then Florida State, of course, has Virginia Tech, who's looking for a coach, and it might be Shane Beamer. Don't say that, Rooster. I'm going to get crucified by the Gamecock fans by saying Shane Beamer. I don't know. Do y'all know? Is anybody willing to bet your home and your life savings that Shane Beamer won't be at Virginia Tech next year? I'm not. But you guys tell me, what do you think about these coaches, these situations, these football teams? If you wait around another year to get rid of a coach and maybe you lose an opportunity at someone that you have your eye on, James Franklin's not going to sit around. He's going to get a job. What other jobs come open is, I think it would just depend on Alex Golesh is going to get probably hired by somebody, but where does he go? What situation fits him best if something opens up? Would a Ole Miss look at Alex Golesh if Lane Kiffin did move on to Florida? Ole Miss is kind of used to these powerful offenses, and we know Golesh runs that Josh Heupel, Tennessee, fast pace offense. Would he be a guy that's brought up in the conversation for Ole Miss? Don't know. We don't know where some of this stuff will go. We don't even know if some of this stuff is going to happen. I think least likely out of the whole group of any of them we talked to be gone away from the team that he's on right now, of course, is going to be Dabo at Clemson. I just don't see Clemson doing away with it. Now, will Dabo have to make staff changes again? Yes. He is paying a lot of money out for coordinators. Is the Garrett Raleigh experiment done at Clemson? Or is it Garrett Raleigh's problem, or is it Dabo interfering with the offense and not letting Riley? This is the one thing I say when I talked about South Carolina and looking at Kendall Briles is Riley coming from TCU, how much was that Sonny Dykes? And that's kind of, when I brought up Kendall Briles in the video, or it might have been the other night when I was on with Rob and Jackpot. How much does that kind of worry me that Kendall Briles, which we know Kendall from Arkansas, right? With KJ Jefferson working under Sam Pittman. And they scored some points at Arkansas. They had Rocket Sanders there at one time. They scored some points there. Now they didn't put up the points that Bobby P's putting up out there, but hell, if Bobby P doesn't stay at Arkansas, does somebody else in a lot of these job openings may come up? Does he go somewhere else? Does somebody, if Arkansas decides to go to Rhett Lashley and Bobby P's out, hell, I'll take him in South Carolina's offense coordinator. I promise you, I know that guy knows how to run a college offense. He will be sought after as a offensive coordinator, no matter what happens if he does not get a head coaching job. But anyway, appreciate all you guys for always supporting the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like I said, I broke some news yesterday that I finally got, and normally it takes time, but I got my partnership program where you can become a member. I'm going to start putting these videos, tagging them to members first before it moves into going out into the public of YouTube. But yeah, you guys give me your thoughts on some of these coaches. Do you think any of them get fired? Do you think any of them take another job somewhere else? Who you think is safe? Would you bet your house? Would you bet your life savings on any of these coaches being where they are right now come next year? Like I said, if I had to bet all the money that I have in my house on anybody, I think Dabo Swinney is the one that will return next year. Brian Kelly, who knows? Hell, maybe Penn State calls him and he takes off and it works out for LSU and Penn State. I don't know about that situation, but who knows? Anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your Friday night. We'll be watching some games tomorrow. Don't forget about the post-game show after South Carolina, Alabama. I may start it a little bit early. Just depends on how this football game is going. If not, we always start it immediately after the football game. It takes me about 10-15 minutes after the game to get the show going. Sometimes I start it early. I'll just come in here into the Roosters Roost and watch it in here instead of on the big TV just to finish the game out. But got to make some picks. Y'all want me to make some picks real quick? I'll make some picks. We got Ole Miss at Oklahoma. Who do I think wins outright? Oklahoma at home, Ole Miss going in. If all this stuff around Florida's true about Lane Kiffin, is he distracted? Oklahoma really good against the run. So will Lacey be effective? Can Oklahoma kind of shake James? I'm going to rock with Oklahoma because they're at home. I do think Oklahoma wins this football game at home. Right now I can't call the spread out, and I'm not going to take the time to look it up. But outright, I think Oklahoma wins that football game. Auburn, Arkansas. I like Arkansas in that one. Auburn on the road. Arkansas's offense. I think Arkansas can definitely score more than Auburn. Just worry about Arkansas's offense or defense being able to stop Auburn. Alabama over South Carolina. I think that's pretty much locks without some kind of miracle, and we don't have Connor Stallion to give us Alabama plays. Missouri Vanderbilt, probably the toughest one. If you look around and say who's going to win that football game, that's neck and neck right there. Can Vanderbilt stop Hardy? Can Pabula play better on the road at Vanderbilt? How does Pavia do? Missouri's defense against that tricky Vanderbilt offense. I think Vandy wraps this one up at home. I think Missouri falls again. Eli Drinkowitz may be upset, but it wouldn't surprise me if Missouri won that one. I think that's like a 2-point spread on that game. Texas, Mississippi State. Mississippi State just can't make the right decisions to win football games. I'm going to go with Texas to win that. I think Texas started figuring it out against Oklahoma. So I think Texas wins that football game. You got A&M at LSU. We know LSU's hard to beat at home. It's a night game, 7:30. Does LSU's defense, can they hold up against Reed and that offense of Texas A&M? Can LSU get anything going on offense? I don't know. They lost to Vandy last week. Didn't really look that good offensively. I think A&M wins this one on the road. Tennessee at Kentucky. Tennessee's going to win this football game. Kentucky's just not very good. Kentucky's going to fight, but I think Tennessee just has too much firepower for Kentucky. But, hey, that's a good little rivalry up there, and I just think Tennessee wins that football game. And y'all can leave Josh Heupel alone about his scrubby beard, whether he just grows a beard or needs to shave, his sloppy clothes. Y'all leave Heupel alone. He's going to beat Kentucky. And Tennessee, man, will be calmed down after that for a little while. Anyway, that's kind of my picks for the weekend. Those are heads up, not against the spread. And you guys let me know about some of this coaching stuff and what you think about it. Until then, which is tomorrow, post-game live show when we're going to read the comments. Oh, yeah, don't forget, if you join, get a membership. $2.99 for the cocky one, $3.99 for the cocky 100. Mr. Max Todd was my first member that joined. I appreciate you, sir. And to all the other people that are out there that help support this channel, I love all you guys. Hope you have a very wonderful and safe rest of your Friday night. Tomorrow we can talk ball again. Peace, y'all.